He's in shambles today.
Okay.
But
Okay, I believe, I mean, John Gilmore and Mark Cornell did not decline. The only person that can't make it is Jason Keating. So maybe people will be joining us, like, whenever you're ready, Thomas.
I realized he might have walked over.
Yeah,
He
I bet
probably
you Mark walked over there.
I texted him. Mine of them were here.
Probably auto deletes like we put on that guy that called you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm blocked. That's fine. They'll block me too. It's not like I ever have good news.
Oh my gosh. Compared to last month, we have a very smooth meeting. Not that last month wasn't smooth, it was just a lot.
That was the end.
Huh? It was the annual, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like a while ago.
Just last year.
Yeah.
He said,
Jason Keating is the only one who has said he can't make it. But John Gilmore's not here, Ben and Mark.
You get bonus points for paying attention and coming here. So.
Right, yep, we're gonna double your
To
pay.
the other facility. Reading comprehensive.
Not well. But please, she's at home, not well, but notice technology is working.
okay.
Maybe
Oh, so Ben said he's trying to log on.
You should be able to.
I don't have anybody in the lobby of the meeting.
Tell him to go to his calendar and click on the thing. Ben won't be able to participate voting though, because I didn't get his sheet.
But
He does not have an excused absence.
I think it's also on ESPN.
It's only on LSG.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't watch it.
Sure, yeah, you gotta go back up, yeah.
Oh, it's on both,
I didn't actually, so as long as.
Yeah.
It's right, strangle it. I don't make sure.
Sure you're not, but everyone else.
It's on ESPN,
On your phone?
the game tonight, right? I think it's on
Yeah, it was
ESPN.
on ESPN the other night too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on ESPN.
It was on both.
Not on ESPN.
I watched it in the city on ESPN, but I have Hulu.
Oh, so you watched it through Hulu?
But on
not through
Spectrum, you could have watched on MSG.
I put it right, but it was listed on ESPN on Spectrum. But it never,
Oh,
I missed the whole pregame,
No, I saw it on ESPN on Spectrum.
You just stay on.
but you're not sitting
Oh, yeah.
different for inexplicable reasons.
we watched it on Hulu and it was fine on ESPN. We don't get an MSG on
Right.
Hulu though at all.
Do you get MSG? No.
You have to go to Fubo to get it, which was a big problem for my parent. Fubo.
We were on time. We were just at
You
the
wouldn't
wrong
realize.
place.
Oh, we're gonna deduct
I
your
did
pay.
text you, Mark. Cornell, I did text you.
We wondered
Sorry,
if
guys.
anyone would do that.
At least I had somebody else.
Yeah.
I want you to go back to your last reminder and look how folded and it's red.
No, there's no blame. You were very clear.
I don't run in the hallway, I just went home, so. Oh, canceled.
All right, so with
All right.
that, we can get started. So welcome everybody to the April meeting of the ErieNet Open Development Corporation. 2:07 PM.
I got it. I'll give it to you.
We'll do a quick roll.
Do I give one to you?
Mark Cornell,
Present?
Reed, here, and Castle. Here. Looks like Mills.
Here.
Fire.
Here.
Elizabeth Freeze.
Here.
Jim Toth.
Here.
Jan Matzis. Legislator Gilmore. Here. We're joined by Ben is remote,
Remote non-voting.
non-voting. We have with us Corinda Darden from Library, County Library, I was going to say community college, but that's not right. And we're here with our friend from DCT, Matt Kreider. We do have a forum. And with that, I'll go into the first order of business, which is to approve the minutes from our March meeting. Everyone had the opportunity to review them. And if there are any questions or considerations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
By Rudy, seconded by legislator Gilmore, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries. There is no report of the chair this month. We're on to number 3, executive director.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy April. Okay, so here's some good news. This month, the Connect All GDA has been signed. We do not have the executed version by both sides, but ErieNet has submitted the signed GDA. Everything's been agreed upon. All insurances are in, and I guess it takes a couple weeks. What that allows us to do now is to be able to submit for our first milestone reimbursement, which we will be doing on Friday, for somewhere between 655,000 to 700,000. I don't know if we have the exact amount yet.
They confirmed it's still at
655, yep. So a little bit lower than what we had at our initial milestone, but that's just because that happens and we've submitted all the work that's been completed, and we had a cutoff date of April 1st just to keep our brains sane when we're doing the submittal. It's a lot of work. Matt's team is working on a lot of the reimbursement, and Courtney getting the paperwork together. And so we have heard from our colleagues across the state that it is a process. It is definitely a process. Hopefully it goes smoothly. We've been able to participate in some webinars and submit samples of what we're turning in, and all has come back well. So keep your fingers crossed. But anyway, the good news is the $5,088,000 is secure for our project, and we're moving forward, and Matt will give you a good update on some of the progress of the MIP work as well as the backbone. 2026 annual meeting recap. I don't have much to say because we kind of recapped last time, but I just want to let you know, I thought everything went really well and smoothly. I'd love feedback. If anyone has feedback that they want to submit, let us know. Otherwise, we'll plan on doing that. Next year, we'll probably have additional speakers because we'll be an up and running network at that point. We'll have additional partners. So we probably will, it might look a little different, kind of the same. We still have squeezing a bunch of stuff, but we should have some additional presentations next year, I think, to kind of highlight some of the things that this year we've accomplished, which we anticipate being our biggest year, obviously. Anybody have any comments on the annual recap or annual meeting? Okay. So good news, Grand Island's IRU is in the process of being signed. It is approved through their board. So Grand Island, Buffalo's the first municipality, but Grand Island will be the official second municipality. We knew they were signing. We had to clear up some things and get some additional signatures, but that is a go. And so Grand Island will be on. And as we said in the annual meeting, Tonawanda also is approving their bond for the project, I believe this month. And so that will be moving forward as well. All very good news. ISP updates. So for those of you attending the State of the County on Thursday, the good news is that the county executive will be announcing 2 internet service provider partnerships with Erie County. I can't, I guess, say that in a public meeting yet of which ones they are, because I'll let him announce that. But you'll see, though, there are 2. But in reality, we have 2 other ones that are also interested. We just couldn't get the time frame worked out. It looks like a go. I was hoping that we'd be able to announce them all, but budgetary and legal issues have prevented that from being official. But we will have 2 announcements at the county executives, State of the County, for internet service provider partners, which is very good news. Kind of as I said in the past, now that the system is being built and has, upcoming completion dates, we have a lot more internet service providers who are interested in using the network as it was designed. So that's all good news. How many of you are going to the county executives? Okay, so you'll be able to hear it there. Okay. We can talk offline if you want to. I just don't want to steal his thunder. So we also, I know this is going to sound, for some of you who have been here from the beginning, we have to go out for our next RFP for operating, sales, and marketing of the network. And ECC holds the contract, all of them right now. We're very hopeful they'll continue to bid on that and moving forward. But we are gonna form a committee, which we did, we have a few of the board members who have offered to help with that. Mike Breeden, Thomas, and Ben Swanenkamp. Thomas is very thrilled about that, because he's got nothing else going on. Ben will be a good addition to that committee as well, because he was around and helped create the first RFP. And so we're using him for some historical data. But we will be meeting separately, and then kind of developing the RFP. And then in our hopes is July 1, we'll put that RFP out so that we have that approved and we know the budgetary, any kind of budgetary changes for our budget process in October. So July 1 is our hopeful date to get that RFP with an August response, mid-August response, and then either a board approval by the end of August or end of September. We're giving ourselves some time. And so there'll be more to come on that, but I just want to let the board know that we are already working on our next RFP process. It's already been almost 3 years. So you'll also notice that we have only one resolution today, and that resolution involves ECC, and it involves a operation and sales and marketing contract. That was to expire at the end of this month, and they have agreed to extend that and not charge additional funding for their services through the end of this year, which we're very appreciative of. They are getting paid through the grant administration piece of the MIP project as well, just as an FYI. So that will be the only resolution for your consideration today. Let's see.
Just so if you don't think of charitable donation, we are actively selling ErieNet fiber and we, of course, on a commission. So.
Yeah.
And we appreciate business.
So that's my updates. And then Matt is going to talk about some updates on the construction of the network.
Thank you. So let's just jump right into construction. From last month to this month, we went from 102 miles to 110. That is not what I wanted to be able to report today, but there's some reasons why we didn't do as many miles as we had hoped, and I'll talk about those. But there is also some good work that's setting us up for May and June as well. So to back up just a bit, on the first page of my report, it's our permit breakdown. The permits are still coming through. They're doing well. We picked up, since this report was issued on Friday afternoon, we had another 2 railroad permits this week, so that's helpful. And I think we picked up 2 MIP DOT permits as well. So that's all. Or the DOT permitting for MIP is going so much better than where we were with DOT a year ago. We understand them, they understand us. The state has interceded on not just our behalf, but all the Connect All projects. So DOT's heard loud and clear to step up the turnaround on the permits, and it shows. So that's good news. On the make ready side, we're still trying to get through the jam. It slowly improves. Our make ready design, we're down to our last 10%. But the make ready construction we had in February and the early part of March, the make ready contractors were distracted and pulled out of the region for storm relief downstate, and that always affects the labor pool that they can draw from the union halls. And so that that impeded some of our make-ready progress. And we thought we had a resolution with NICEAG on their planned outages when we have to replace an electric pole. That there's a planned outage of power, and NICEAG has a budget for that. And I think you remember me talking about this before. The new year renewed, budgets got reset. NICEAG said, you know, that we can move forward. And then what they imposed this year that was different from last year is they want one of their NICEAG, they call it a switchman position, to be there when we swap out the pole for their safety and quality control, which is absolutely their right. It's their person, it's their resource, it's their expense. But the problem is they have one switchman for Western New York. Or it feels like they have one switchman.
We can
for
only
Western
do
New
them
York.
on Fridays.
And they're only scheduling on Friday. And to give you an idea, we have probably a dozen NRAs right now. And that doesn't mean we won't get a few more as we go through these packages. And so like with one contractor, we have 7 of these pole swap outs that are stymied by this. And so we asked, you know, first we asked, can we like schedule these 7 so the contractor can hit them all in a week? No, the best we can do is Friday. And we said, okay, we'll do Fridays for a month and get this done. And then, well, it's not every Friday, it's every other Friday. And this is NICEAG. And of course, we're not the only people swapping out poles, so there's that competition as well. So this has been escalated with the Connect All folks. They're coming at it from their contacts. It's the same people at NICEAG. Melissa and I and the ECC team are pressing it every time we talk with them. We're trying to work out the schedule with our contractors to be more flexible, but it's an issue and it's slowing us down.
And it can become an expensive issue,
Right,
because we
yeah.
have a remobilization clause, especially in our one contract with Danella, where it could cost us up to $14,000 or $15,000 every time they have to come back. So they can't schedule all of the ones that they have at one time. And every time they have to remobilize their contractors, then we're looking at $15,000
Yeah, so
each time.
You know, it's one thing to pay a remobilization charge and then hit all 7 of the NRAs. But if we have to hit that mobilization charge 7 times, you know, we're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars, which, you know, we just don't want to agree to that.
We do have a meeting with NICEAG on Thursday. And it's supposed to be talking about aged applications, and they don't allow us to talk about NRA issues in those meetings. However, I requested a separate meeting to talk about NRAs, and they've moved it into that meeting as well.
Because they don't have a lot of switchmen in your meeting.
There's
They
no
don't have
switchman
it.
coming to our meeting, and we'd have to have that on Friday. That's not fair. So, yeah, no, so hopefully we will have better news. And like Matt said, even though, the NRAs specifically for our project right now do not have to do with the MIP project specifically, Connectel has been gracious in some of the issues we're having with National Grid and NICEAG to try to assist us, because they recognize that while it might not be a primary problem for MIP specifically, it will become a secondary problem for that project if we can't get our backbone done. So they have stepped in on some of our behalf. And as Matt mentioned before, we've seen much difference in both processes through permitting and through the make ready with utilities from our original backbone project to MIP. And that I think is because the state is directly involved, which should not happen. It should be consistent and they should be getting work done. But it seems that when state stepped in for these big projects that have timelines, the process has changed and became easier for us to get through. Sorry, Matt.
So we have a couple ideas that we want to present to NICEAG to streamline these NRAs. I think they make sense. And it's quite frankly, the way we did them in the past. And much better. So we'll keep you apprised of that. On the grid side, we've struggled with grid with their enforcement of the pole violators. And the biggest violator is Spectrum. Spectrum has very little motivation to pay for violations because one, they don't want to pay. And two, they're not all that excited about us being on the pole to begin with. And so it's incumbent on grid to twist their arms, police the pole, and get these violations taken care of. And unlike NICEAG, which just says, do the work and we'll sort it out with the third-party attachers, grid doesn't do that. They alluded to the fact that they were willing to be more flexible in that process, but then Friday they walked it back on us. So we're, again, another.
Well, they only walked
negotiation.
it back when we requested it in writing.
And yes. Right. So I think perhaps what that means is they're gonna help us where they can. They want to be proactive, but
I'm thinking at this point too, we probably want to re-escalate it because we have brought it to the PSC in the past. But I think we want to maybe at this point now that it's well over a year old, I think we're going to have to escalate that.
there's
again.
already PSC issues between grid and Spectrum.
Yeah.
But even with that said, last Friday, we got 12 new make-ready packages released from grid so that we can take those 12. And that's probably somewhere in the order of, I don't know, 35 to 45 miles. And we can now release those to our make-ready contractors to get work on that going. And then this week and next, there's another 13 that are coming back to us and we'll quote those. And so that's 25 these applications. So I have 109 showing that they're, I have 33 showing that they're still in design and 25 of those just came out. So our make ready design by next month, it's going to be down to 5% or something. Number 8 of that number is. So that's positive. The other good work that's going on is our underground construction is ramping up now that we're in good weather. We have several underground segments that are under construction between the RATH to the DTC, and from the RATH to the Fire Training Academy, and from the RATH to Elm Street. And those are all work orders that have been released and are under construction. And the RATH to Elm is, the work order has been released, but the contractor will begin that work next week. The I-190, if you recall, a year ago, 2 years ago, we did an IRU for throughway duct across the Grand Island Bridge. And we did a 20-year IRU for that duct. We've cleared all the permits and we can pull our fiber across Grand Island Bridge. It's very important because that's how we get to Grand Island, obviously. We're coordinating that with Grand Island's contractor because they need to be on site for that. And again, that's work that'll be coming up in May. So we think there's probably another 15 to 20 miles of aerial work that pole line work that's going to happen in May, and then this underground construction. The 25 make ready packages that I talked about, that make ready package will start to clear 30 to 40 days out. So then in June, those miles can get issued to CLW. So we think 15 to 20 miles in May. June, we want to be up to 30 to 35 miles. And then once we hit July through November, we need to, finish off the remaining 200 miles at, whatever that is, 5 months and 40 miles a month. The other thing we're doing is, in addition to the fiber construction work, wherever we can put our strand up, I think I've talked about this before, we like to do, we do 20,000 foot reels of fiber. That's what we have at the DPW. We got, 40 different reels stacked up out there. Each reel is 20,000 feet. And we like to have a contiguous run of pole line. So we're not splicing every 1,000 feet, right? You want to, because that degrades your signal over distances. So 20,000 feet's a little less than 4 miles. But strand we can put up wherever we're clear. So we have the contractors putting strand, and that reserves our place on the pole. And then we are ready to run the fiber. We're that much further along. And it keeps our fiber crew busy. And so, we don't lose those people to work outside of the area. That's going on, and CLW is also splicing now. So we have 110 miles up, and we have those 4-mile sections. And where those 4-mile sections come together, we have to splice those together. CLW is doing that splicing. So this is all good work that needs to get done, that we're trying to do to keep our splicers and our fiber installers productive when we wait for the make ready to clear, and we can just, get 2 or 3 of these fiber crews to mobilize. Now that we have the IRU signed with the city, we're very close to having the IRU signed with the county, but we're already working with the county for what we call building entrance facilities. So when we come off that last pole on the pole line, or the last handhole, we have that piece that comes into the building, like we did for the raft building earlier this spring. There's 71 county facilities that we have to build out to, and there's 45 City of Buffalo facilities. And that work is being issued to CLW as well. So I wish I had more than 110 miles to report this week, but we have been busy, and we're trying to maximize wherever. And again, we're doing that so that we can protect this schedule on the next page after the map. I think you got a black and white map. It's essentially the same map as last month, except there's 8 extra miles that you can't tell where they are. But the next page is our schedule, and schedule hasn't changed. We're still holding the same dates, and we still are very much targeting to have this project built by the end of the year. The MIP construction schedule is basically running in parallel with the ARPA, but not the ARPA, we call it the backbone project. And that starts in June, and we want to be completed a month in advance of the year deadline. So we're targeting the end of November. And that continues to look realistic, and the make ready, like we talked about, is doing is meeting our expectations. I wouldn't say it's a slam dunk, because utility coordination never is, but it's going better. The managed network service contract, I think we covered the Connect All information here. The managed network services, and that's where we light up the county fiber for their 71, 72 sites. We're going to meet tomorrow, I think, Mike, to make sure we all agree on what the final sites are. That continues to move forward. We have our NetSync partners configuring the routers. They continue to need some additional information from the network applications. So we have a meeting set up with Entrado on Thursday, which is excellent. And we did speak with Kevin Hughes this week. He's, I think, at a conference this week, but he's coordinating with Motorola to get the EMS radio information that we're looking for. So that's moving along well. And then sales and marketing, we had a new substantial broadband provider approach us last week. Again, we can't really talk about it in a public forum other than they do specialize in rural America and certainly fits the southern and eastern portions of the county for us. So we're exploring those options. Several ISPs we have quotes out to, and some have, have moved into the contract negotiation phase. So hopefully we can make some public official announcements very soon. It's months.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Melissa, thanks, Matt. There were no committee report, no committee meetings this month. There's no unfinished business or new business, so we can move right into our resolutions for today. That is resolution 2026-11, resolution of the ErieNet Local Development Corporation authorizing the negotiation and execution of an amendment to a certain agreement by and between the corporation and ECC Technologies to extend the term of the agreement as more particularly described herein. I'll take a motion.
Motion.
By Mike Breeden, seconded by Legislator Gilmore. Any discussion?
The only thing I'll say is that on the full copy, it says that it's resolution 2026-10, and on the agenda, it says 11. Courtney, do you know which one that is? She's someone. Well, we'll figure it out, make sure.
It's 10.
It's 10, okay.
Okay.
So it's correct in the paperwork.
I don't know if I missed this, but how long is the term?
It goes to the end of this year.
Okay. Any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. Our next board meeting is May 19th, 26th. Will we be here or back at
We'll be back at at our normal place, Seneca 1.
Seneca 1? I'll take a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
Thanks, everyone. I'm glad that Mark and John got some more steps in today.
We're gonna time next time.
At least it wasn't sideways snowing for that walk.
It was Aaron, while I was here, communicated with